Adding marquee lights to my balloon business has been one of the most profitable decisions I've ever made, but it came with a hefty price tag. Adding marquees to your inventory can easily run you 10, 20, 30,000 dollars or more. So today I am talking with Jenna from Festive and Flair, who is sharing how she has DIY'd her own very professional, reusable, lightweight marquee letters with a price tag of $27 a piece. So you're going to love this interview if you are thinking about adding marquees to your balloon inventory, but don't want to pay the price of a car to onboard them. Let's get into this week's episode. Welcome, Jenna. I'm so excited to talk to you today because you have a little secret about marquees that I think is going to help a lot of people out and change the game a bit. But before we jump in, introduce yourself, tell us where you are and a little bit about your business.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. But I'm Jenna. I am the owner of Festive and Flair. I'm in what most people call Middle Tennessee, but what I cater is Nashville. That is my go to market. I live about, I'd say, about 40 minutes south of Nashville. So I'm in the suburbs, but our business specifically, we like to do large scale balloon installations. And I say large scale, we do small scales too, but I prefer the large scale. We also specialize in marquees. And then we also are really big with kind of like event planning.
Okay.
So we like to help people grab other vendors that they need. So we are constantly promoting our what we call frienders,
Okay.
and we're able to kind of be a one-stop shop for a lot of people. So a lot of times what we find is that someone comes to the table and they're like, "Oh, and I also need a florist, and I also need a cake, and I also need this, and I also need that." And we can do a lot of it, except I'm not baking cakes and I'm not putting flowers together.
Yeah.
But we like to kind of lead in the way that we help create the vision for the event. I love a wow factor. So that's kind of a little bit about us. We like to just be the go to for your event planning, and
I
then we
love it.
specialize in the
Well, I wanna
decoration.
talk about both of those things. I wanna talk about the marquees because I don't think it's what people think,
Hmm.
and I wanna talk about the frienders. So maybe we can do second half of the episode, kind of focus on that because I think that's networking at its core. Like, that's networking done correct, but I think there's a lot of questions like, are you upcharging? Are you delivering the cake? Are you who signs the contract? So let's talk about that the second half because I think that's fascinating. First, though, let's jump into these marquees because you reached out and you're like, I made my own marquees. I've kind of figured out how to do this on a budget. I love to share. And I was like, no, they're gonna look like garbage. They're gonna look like they're cardboard. And then I went to your website and I was zooming in and I was looking at these pictures. I was like, there's no way you made these. Like, what do you mean you made these? So tell us, I guess, why you decided to kind of go the quote unquote DIY route, even though these do not look DIY at all. They made me a little bit regretful of carrying around
Oh gosh.
my heavy, expensive wood ones. So tell us about your marquees.
Yeah. So our marquees are standard. We like to make them 4 feet tall. I know a lot of the metal ones, that's the main thing that people use are the metal. Ours are made out of foam. So it's actually funny when you see me walking into a vet and I can carry 4 to 6 letters in 2 hands, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, she is like Hercules over
Yeah.
there." And then they come over and they're just like amazed. They are made out of 100% foam. So
And when you
that
say
is
foam,
my
are you talking
absolute favorite.
foam board or like foam, like insulation
So there's
foam?
two types of foam that we use when we make them. The backing is I think they call it like garage insulation,
Okay.
but specifically it's white. So it has to be the white one. And then the sides are project foam board. So it helps keep it sturdy and stand up and stuff like that. So yeah, 100% foam. That's my favorite part about them. So how we got here, Festive and Flair was born in Georgia, and where we were in Georgia was like an hour and a half south of Atlanta. So there were no marquee companies anywhere near us. And people would come to us and ask for marquees before balloons because it
Okay.
was kind of like when marquees became a huge deal. Like they were new, everyone wanted them for every celebration. And we're like, okay, yeah, let us call this company 45 minutes away. Well, they were charging $300 just to deliver. Like,
Yeah.
haven't even gotten to the rental price yet. So we're like, we've got to be able to like help people because it'll help us get business with balloons if we can do the marquees.
Yeah.
We probably had 5 iterations. So we made them, we're like, okay, they're good, but they could be better. The first time we made them, they didn't last but 1 or 2 events. And we're like, okay, there's got to be a way we can make this last.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question, like, are these
Yeah.
leave behind? Are these disposable? Or, like, you're treating these like
No.
this is your inventory?
Oh, yes. I
Okay.
have a full inventory and I keep them for sure. It is actually more rare for me to remake a marquee now. Like, I have 4 of the letter A, and just because I needed it for multiple words or whatever.
Yeah.
These are long term.
Okay.
Touch ups here and there with hot glue, they are long term. And sometimes I'm like, "Ooh, this one's a little rough, but it's a donation, so it'll be fine." And then I take the picture and I'm like, "You can't even tell this one's rough." Like,
I think that every time I install mine, I'm like, "God,
yeah,
these are
yeah.
beat up," and then, like, when you turn on the lights and you can't tell at
Yeah,
all.
you can't tell at all. Exactly. So yeah, that's kind of how it was born. It was a necessity. Like, we had nobody doing marquees near us. And
And
then
why did you
we
decide not to just, like, order them from China or buy a franchise or, like, have them made? Like, why did you immediately go the foam board
yeah,
route?
so when I started Festive and Flair, it was me and I had a business partner at the time, and our goal was to like self invest. So, meaning the business pays for itself. And we were not making anywhere near that kind of money to pay ourselves, divided in two, and to then invest in these. And we were very committed not to go in debt. So we're
Yeah.
like, we are two very crafty women. We are Pinterest crazy moms. And so we can figure this out. We
Yeah,
can do
and that
this.
was I mean, that was kind of like a leading question by me. It's like, "Why didn't you just spend 50 grand to order
Yeah,
them?" Like,
why not?
obviously, I think most of us, it's like, that's not just something you do on a whim.
Yeah, and our goal was, like, our we wanted to go spend 20 grand on a new van. Like,
Mm,
that was, like, more of a priority to us to have, like, a company vehicle instead of buying marquees, so that's kind of the decision we made there, and then once we really fine-tuned it, every single time I bring these marquees somewhere, people are touching them, and they're like, "What? You made this? What are you talking about?" And I'm over
yeah.
here like, "It really wasn't that hard. It has a couple of very basic tools. You don't need like a drill gun and you don't need nothing crazy.
No, I'm,
It's
like,
held
literally
together by
going to
hot
your
glue."
Instagram. I wanna look at them again because,
Yes.
like I said, I was, like, zooming in because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, these must be, like, the puzzle piece ones that go together," or, like, I'm gonna
Mm-mm,
see
no
the hot
seams.
glue or, like,
No
there's
seams. I am
nothing.
like hard, hard, no seams. I want it to be all single flush. The other thing is we chose a font that we liked. So we didn't really like the squared off font,
Yeah,
and I was looking all over, and we end up downloading a balloon mosaic template is really what it is. And
okay,
I actually have a link to like all the templates that I use for my font that I use and then for my numbers. And they're basically balloon mosaics. And then you take it the step further and you cut out the holes. And we have a very specific strand of lights that we use.
okay. That's what I was gonna ask, and
That's
these
also linked
are
as well.
hardwired or battery?
Hardwired.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they look really beautiful, they're really great. So price-wise, what are you talking per letter to make and per letter to rent?
So per letter to make. So I tell people when you're first starting out making them, I like to take time into consideration for cost. So when you're first making one character, a letter or a number, I'd say it's probably going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours. After you've made 2 or 3, you could easily crank one out in 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the character. Like,
Yeah, I would
an
imagine,
L
like, an
is gonna be
L
really
is
fast.
really
Yeah,
right,
yeah, or an I, or a number 1 is
right.
gonna be really fast. As far as cost for materials, so there is an upfront cost of a couple of tools, like a hot glue gun, a foam cutting it's like a heat foam cutting tool, and then, like, glue sticks. I have a cutting mat, but if you're cool cutting on the floor, that's up to you. Um, there's a couple other things. I wanna say the initial cost was less than $100 for materials. I wanna say more in, like, the $75 range, and to actually make it, if you break it down with the actual materials you're buying, like the foam and all of that, we had it at $27,
That's
and it's
crazy.
reusable. That
Yeah,
is the
yeah.
key,
That's the thing.
reusable.
I know people have they've talked about the phone before, but it's always been under like, oh, because then you can leave it behind. Oh, you buy the kit and you put it together. But then it's like, well, you're spending all that time every single time. But I love
Mhm.
that yours are sturdy and reusable. That's really cool. And then and promote because you have a resource to help people make these if they want.
Yeah. Yeah, so what I did is I put together a full tutorial. So it's on our website and you can download the tutorial. And the first section is everything you need and what we use exactly.
Yeah.
And it has links to everything. So it's not all going to go to Amazon. Some of the links go to Lowe's. And then I also have underneath where it, like, if you don't have a Lowe's where you live, maybe you have a Menards or a different kind of um, home store, then I put what it's called
Okay. So
and
you
the
can go find
thickness
it.
that it needs to be, yeah.
Yeah.
And the lights that we use very specifically, how many bulbs that we use. Some people, I mean, and obviously people can interchange things, what works for them. And then there's going to be a second iteration of it once it starts to get popular, and I'm going to share how I set them up, how I interchange the light bulbs. So I'll get pink light bulbs and I'll get yellow, and I've done a red, white, and blue for USA.
Yeah. Cool.
And then the coolest thing is I have a little bit of graphic design background, and I was able to take people's specific fonts and make marquees out of their fonts. So if you have
Cool.
access to a graphic designer, you can use the same exact tutorial.
So
You
you
just
could
need
do,
that.
I mean, it would depend on the business, but in theory, like you could corporatize
Yes.
their business logo in lights, like as long as it was words.
Yeah, so I
That's
have
really
2
cool.
really good examples. One of them, they wanted it was a corporate client that wanted everything in lowercase, but they still wanted it to be 4 feet tall. So I
Okay.
did the whole name in 4 feet, and of course, there were lowercase l's, which were like 7 feet for
Yeah.
proportion, and it looked really cool, and they were, like, stoked. And another one I did was Luke Combs, so I live in the Nashville area.
Okay.
He has a personal, like, font, his own font. It's like
Okay.
what's how it's written on his guitar and how it's written on all his merch and all the things. So I took his logo and I made it, and it ended up being about 16 feet wide and about 8 to 9 feet tall. So his
Oh my gosh.
logo was in Marquees.
It's so cool. It's like if Marquees and Mosaics had a baby. I
Exactly.
love it.
That's
I
exactly
love
what it is.
it. I think it's
Yeah.
really, really cool. Well, congrats on cracking the code on this, and I think it's awesome you're sharing it with people. Because, like we said, like I will say over and over, Marquees were one of the best investments I ever made, and I spent, like, between 15 and 20,000 for mine. So, like, if I was able to get those for, like I'm a little bit irritated that I didn't get them for $3,000 for the full set, but still, yeah, they're a really good add-on. And I think what's cool about your strategy too is like you don't have to necessarily have that initial upfront investment. You can kind of make the letters as you need them and build your
Correct.
inventory slowly. So that's really cool. So if someone's been wanting to get into the marquee game, this is a really cool resource. I love it. Well, let's
Yeah.
take a quick break. And then I want to talk about your frienders and your networking. Quick pause because if you're running a small business and you feel like your brain is holding open 1,000 tiny tabs, this is for you. One of the biggest shifts that I've made in my business and that I've seen successful decorators make over and over is moving from doing everything manually to having a real system behind the scenes. That's why 17 Hats is our exclusive YouTube sponsor for 2026. 17 Hats puts your inquiries, contracts, invoices, questionnaires, emails, and workflows all in one place so you're not chasing clients, forgetting follow ups, or reinventing the wheel every single time someone books. Instead of asking, did I send that and what comes next? Your business just works. The best part, it doesn't make your business feel more robotic. It actually frees you up to do things that you are meant to do, like be creative, work with clients, spend time with your family, and all with less stress. If you're ready to stop duct taping systems together and start operating like a real business, head to 17hats.com to check it out. Once you have a system, everything else gets easier. All right, let's jump back in. All right, welcome back. Let's switch gears. Love the marquees, but let's talk about networking. Kind of like on that friender scale that you said. You're recommending people. You're also kind of acting as the event planner. You said you're kind of helping people get all their people lined up. I have a lot of questions in terms of logistics and who does what and how you arrange this, but why don't you just tell me about that strategy and that setup? Like, what does it look like when someone comes to you and they're like, "We're having an event, and can you decorate it?" Like, what's your go-to?
Yeah. So my first question is, do you have any other vendors? Because we, as a decorator, we like to be cohesive with the whole event. And typically, what we're doing with balloons determines the floor plan of everything. Because if my photo booth is going to take X amount of feet, like I need to know, and I need to be working with the whoever's doing the floor plan and where's the cake going to go? Am I putting balloons behind the cake? Am I putting stuff on the table? Are you doing a florist? Are we doing every other table? So for me,
Yeah.
that was always my first question, even if they're coming to me for just decorating. I'm like, okay, who is your other vendors? Like, oh, I don't have any, or oh, here they are. And it's either one, a networking opportunity for me, or two, hey, let me help you find people. What else do you need? I network all the time. That's the biggest way for me to get business. So I can connect you with people to do this. And then their eyes get really big like, wait, I don't have to go call and talk to
Yeah.
anybody else and find all these other people.
Right. So what
So
happens when they're like, "We have no one." Like, we're looking for a charcuterie person and a cake person and, like, or maybe cookies, and also if you know a florist. Like, what's your next step then?
my next step is great. I have the perfect people for that. Let me get you in contact with them. One, or do you want me to handle that? And I could just be your one stop shop. And nine times out of 10, they're like, can you just handle it? And it
Yeah.
does not take much more effort on my part because all I'm doing
Okay.
is,
No, tell me more because I'm already breaking out in hives because the thought of me managing all those other people, I'm just like, "Absolutely not. Here is their cell phone. Best of luck to you." But, like, what makes it worth it for you? Are you taking a percentage off the top? Because I would never
yes.
just do this for free.
Yeah, so kind of the people that I work closely with, we already have an agreement with each other that we'll cut each other like 10% of
Okay.
everything we do. Or for instance, if you're making the cake and I'm taking it and delivering it because I'm going already as the decorator, I'm saving you a trip to go out
Yeah.
somewhere. I'm already going so I can bring it with me and someone from my team can handle that part of the deal. So it's kind of like a win-win on both sides. I have control of the budget, and
Mm.
so I can really push for them to spend more on decorations
Yeah.
if I can do a better job at getting, like, discounts here and there. And then
Yeah. Cool.
them, it's more appetizing because they're not having to run around to 20 different people trying to figure out how to put their event together.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm sure your friends like you for getting jobs for them. I mean, that
Oh,
seems
for
like a really,
sure.
like, awesome way to make relationships because 'cause you're getting that money.
Yeah, and then it kind of also it works out for me because it keeps me at the top of their mind,
Yeah.
and so whenever they're talking to clients, they're like, "Oh, I know the exact person you need to talk to," because I'm
Yeah.
always doing them a favor, so it's like a symbiosis relationship is what I tell people.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be sneaky or tricky.
No.
Because sometimes I think there are those questions of like, am I like, would you ever sign a contract on behalf of a client or like you make them sign a contract for, I mean, I guess the biggest thing would be marquee rentals, but you already have those. But let's say you're booking the DJ for them. Would you ever sign that contract so they're doing none of the work or you forward that to them and you're like, here are the details for the guy that I recommend?
Yeah, if they have a specific contract because they're gonna be there or they have a waiver or whatever, like, terms that they need the client to abide by, then
Hmm.
I will send that along with mine. So my contracts are within my invoices, so by paying the invoice, that's them agreeing to the
Yeah.
contract.
Okay.
And so if there is like a DJ or someone who has specific terms that are very strict, I send that separately. And I tell my vendor, I'm like, do you want to send it to them? Do you want me to? It's up to you. And if it gets too lengthy and too much, then I'm like, okay, here, you can just have your own invoice and have your own thing.
Yeah.
When it's florals, when it's cake, when it's centerpieces, things like that. Drapes. I have a big like party rental business that I'm connected with. Drapes, chairs, tables. They have contracts because of damage and because of like all those
Right.
things.
You're not
So
like,
that
let me go set up the
yeah,
tent.
I'm like, okay, bye. You can have them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
cool,
I
cool.
do it strategically.
Has there ever been a time where, like, can you think of any stories where, like, this has not gone great and you're, like, running around doing all the things and maybe had to set some boundaries?
I okay. So I am the yes girl. I'm learning to be more like, no, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's just like so exciting. You're like, oh my gosh, your theme, it's tomorrow. Yes, I can do this. And I'm like, 2 days out. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get flowers from this person and a cake from this one. I'm like, okay, guys, last minute, can you get this cake and can you get these flowers? They're like, oh no, we're fully booked. And I'm like, oh gosh, wait,
Yeah,
what?
right.
I have to figure something out really fast. So I've learned to make multiple friends in certain areas and I kind of have like a list I go through. But one time I was like, "That's fine. I'm going to Trader Joe's. I'm gonna get flowers from Trader Joe's." I'm going to we have Publix down here
Okay.
and they have the best cake ever. I'm like, "I just need a plain cake. Don't put anything on it. Just plain white. They'll never know." And I'm like frantically and I'm like, "Okay, I need to stop saying yes. Like this is ridiculous."
That's so funny. That's so funny. So then are you doing any sort of, like, on like, day of coordinating, or you're not that type of event planner? No.
No, I'd say
Okay.
more so the, like, before the event starts, like, getting your vendors because I have so many connections to so many other women in business, so I'm like, "Hey, let's use this as an advantage and not just be like, 'Yeah, I know a girl.'" Like, no, like, I really plug people in because I when someone does that for me, like, I do the biggest happy dance ever. I'm like, "Wait, you heard about me from who?" Like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh."
I just got one today, and it was a competitor that, like, we don't have a relationship. We don't have a bad relationship. I've just, like she's an hour away. I've never actually, like, even met her. I know her balloon company
Yeah.
exists, and I just got, like, a really good job request, and she was the referral person. So I don't know if she's booked that day or out of town, but I'm just like, yeah, I like you a lot now."
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
That's
that's
another
cool.
thing in my area, which is really, really cool. And I feel like a lot of other areas should do this. So obviously Nashville's a little bit of a bigger city. So there's multiple balloon vendors here. And we've created this group amongst all of us. And we trade ideas. We say, hey, I have this inquiry. I can't handle it. Can anyone? And whoever picks it up. Hey, I need Calisan 12-inch pastel matte blue. Does anybody have those?
Yeah.
Like, let me and we're constantly, like, networking with each other, and it's one of my favorite things about being in near a big city is sometimes people are afraid of, "Oh my gosh, there's so much competition," but what I love is that we are kind of our own little community, and so when I go to network and they're like, "Oh, yeah, I do balloons with so and so," and I'm like, "I know who that is, I love her," and they're like, "Oh, you're cool?" And I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
Yes." Like, I love meeting new balloonies, like, that's so exciting.
How so in Nashville, I'm just because I've forgotten many a night in Nashville. I love Nashville. But
Yes.
what is your I mean, you said you're kind of in the suburbs, but I think like bachelorette party. Like Nashville, I think bachelorette party. Are you doing a lot of those like downtown Nashville Airbnb bachelorette setups, or is that not really outside of the city? That's not really a thing.
That no, I don't do that at all purposefully. Their budgets are very low typically.
Yes.
And there's actually like specific companies that are just 100% bachelorettes and they'll do
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
entire like decoration to filling their fridge to booking their stay to getting their itinerary
Well,
together.
that's a
And
great
so
that's a great little niche. That's
yes, there's
awesome.
like there's a couple of companies that do that and it's perfect. So there's really no bang for my buck there. So I don't even promote to that.
Okay,
I've
and
not done a
I'm
single
asking
bachelorette party.
selfishly because I get a lot of bachelorettes in my town too, because it's kinda like a
Okay.
resort town. So it's definitely not like a Nashville. It's more just like a, "Let's go out on the boat and then rent an Airbnb." But same thing, they always, like they don't even know where they're staying yet. They haven't even gotten an Airbnb, and if they do, they don't know the address until, like, the day before. And then they're always, like, using like, 15 girls have to agree on the decor, and
Yes,
then
that's so
the
hard.
budget's like $100. So we kinda joke, like, anytime there's a bachelorette request, I'm like, "I'm booked. I'm booked. I'm
Yes,
booked." Like, I
yes.
never do them, so I was just curious if you had, like, nailed the bachelorette,
No,
special.
not a
Okay.
fan. It's pretty much the same story, so
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone's listening who does bachelorette parties, let me know because I feel like there's a market there. I just don't know how to deal with 20 girls with a $100 budget. But if there's a way to do it, we'll figure that out. Cool. What else do you have in your business? Because you mentioned balloons, marquees, and then you said photo booth. Do you have any other rentals or offerings?
I don't. So
Okay.
what I do is kind of what we were talking about before is like frienders. So
Okay.
I say I offer these things and it's almost like what I tell people I'm like drop shipping. I'm like I
Okay.
can do photography. I can do because so how I
Oh,
look at it
cool.
I before I became a balloon professional, I was a computer engineer. So I'm very like into my website and the SEO and all the things. And so I like to choose all these words that people are going to use to look up an event. And then that's how I grab them. And then I'm like, as long as I can get them in front of my face, like I feel like I can do a pretty good job at selling what they need.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like I tell a lot of people, like, I can get you connection with a photographer, a baker, I can get you party rentals. Like, what are you looking for? I'm sure I know somebody that can help you.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Well, let's wrap up with some concrete tips. What's your number one networking tip?
Yeah. So join the networking groups. In Nashville, we have a lot to join, like so many. My favorites are women centric ones, only because I feel like when you're in the decorating world and the balloons, the men typically don't get it. I get long stares. And so I've actually had to change my elevator pitch whenever I'm talking to men about decor. They're like, "You do balloons? What?" And I'm like, "No, let me show you, please. Don't run away."
Yeah, yeah, they're like,
So
"Don't understand."
women-centric networking events, and then another big key for me networking is connecting with venues. So
Mm,
I'll do a lot of on-site walkthroughs at venues that I wanna work at a lot. So
okay.
there are tons of hotels in Nashville, and so I will make connections with the people that work there at the hotels.
So do you just set those walkthroughs up by yourself, or do you wait
Yes.
until you have a client who's actually having an event there?
Nope, I'll set them up before I even have an event there
I love
because a
that.
lot
I've
of
never
times
thought to do that. I mean, Bree from
yeah,
Elevated Impressions sort of talked about that on her episode about setting up like a photo shoot in a venue.
mhm.
But like, yeah, just setting up a tour for yourself. I've never even thought of that. That's a
Yeah,
really great
people
tip.
love to show off their pretty things, and so they get excited when you come, and then you also have a venue that you can promote now if someone comes to you and is like, "I don't know where to have my event." So, kinda
Yeah.
works both ways.
I love that. I love that. And then let's wrap up with a tip about marquees. If somebody is thinking and they're like, oh, I kind of want to do this, maybe this is a way to get my foot in the door. What are some things they should consider before taking the leap?
So, I would definitely consider where you are, um, setting up these marquees. Is it gonna be an hour away every time? Because then you're gonna have to go back and pick them up at the end of the event. I make really good relationships with the venues I'm at, and then I'm like, "Can I just come back in the morning?" And they're like, "Yep, we'll put them in the back room, you're good to go."
Well, and I'm sure they're
Another
happier
thing
to do
is
that if they're foam.
yeah,
Mine, they're like, no, we're not moving these.
yes. They're like, "Sure, woo," and they throw them, and then sometimes
Yeah.
you come in and you're like, "Okay, just kidding." Another thing is it's a great upsell. So a lot of times people are like, "Oh yeah, I like the balloons, but my wife's turning 40." And or the other way around, they're like, "I just want marquees." And I'm like, "Listen, just a little bit of color would look so good." So it kind of helps like when if someone's looking for marquees to upsell with balloons, or if
Yeah.
someone's looking for balloons, you upsell with marquees. Spell a word, spell a name,
I do.
a
Yeah.
year,
I
whatever
do
it is.
feel
So
like
it's
they're
kind of
really
a
easy to
helpful
sell.
upsell.
Yeah, especially when they yeah, like you said, they lead with like, "It's a 50th birthday." You're like, "You're getting a 50." Or like,
Yes.
"It's a 13th birthday." And you're like, "You're getting a 13." Like, there's a 50th anniversary, celebration 2-year anniversary in business. It's like anytime they say a number, I'm like, "It's
Yep.
Marquees." Like, you're getting Marquees.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, remind us again where we can find you if we want to learn more either about the Marquees or just your business.
Yeah. So my favorite place to find me is Instagram. And so you can find me at Festive and Flair, all spelled out. And Flair is Flair. We are not a fire company. A lot of times people will spell that wrong. And then on Facebook, we also have Festive and Flair. And then our website is festiveandflair.net. And on there, there's a link at the top that says shop. And it's my very first product on there. It's a digital download for the Marquee tutorial.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited and I want to see people making these. I'm so curious if anyone's going to start from scratch and start offering them cuz I think that's awesome that you are offering this resource. Thank you so much for coming
Yes.
on.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.